Hello everyone, welcome to Work in Progress Wednesday. I'm Christine and today I'm going to talk about some projects I've been working on. First, let me start with what I'm wearing. This is the Jara sweater by Megan Nielsen. I love this pattern. I really should make some more. I find that I like it better if I wear it on its own or with a cami or tank underneath because it does have a wider neckline. But I really like the style lines on this, and I should make another one. So I've been working on a big project until I got a little bit distracted. Do you do that? Let me know. I hope I'm not alone in this, in starting out on a big project and then being diverted into one or two other projects. So I have a problem. I have too much fabric. And I don't think I've been making wise purchases, and I don't think I've been wisely using my fabric. The main reason is because when I have been buying fabric, I've been using kind of general guidelines of how much I might need to make a top or to make a dress, and it varies depending on whether I'm buying in meters or yards. Lately, I've been purchasing most of my fabric from Minerva. I'm a member of their craft club, and I've been getting my fabric in meters. So getting it in meters is not a problem. My problem has been kind of a long-standing one. I never intended to create a big fabric stash. I always wanted to sew more in the now and make what I want to make in the moment and have the fabric that I want for that project. It does not take a long time to have fabric shipped, and yes, I do enjoy purchasing on sale, but I think if I'm purchasing fabrics and I'm not sewing them up, I've got a lot of inventory, a lot of money just sitting up in bins, not doing anything. So I want to correct that problem. And that is the project that I'm working on this week, or the one I started out working on. And I wanted to get to the root of the problem. And as I said, I wanted to know how much fabric I would need for a given project and not just use these general guidelines because that's not been working for me. I found that the problem came in that if I over-ordered fabric, then I would look at it in relation to the pattern and it'd be like, I think I'm gonna have awkward offcuts that are gonna be wasteful in this fabric. I don't wanna waste them, so let me put this fabric aside and I will use it for a pattern that is more fabric hungry. And then it sits and doesn't get sewn up. Or conversely, I would order not quite enough fabric. I would have thought that I had enough fabric for a top, and it turns out I don't have enough for the top either because the width of the fabric is a smaller width, or the volume in the top, or the sleeves, there'd be some reason why that wouldn't work. And then I'd have that fabric sitting in my stash. So I want to get back to buying for specific projects, and I want to do a better job shopping my stash. So I realized I needed a better system for organizing and planning my projects than what I have going now. So what I'm doing now is when I buy fabric, I've been buying just, I think I'll need 3.5 yards for a dress. That should cover most dresses, and then a few fabrics I'll order 4 yards if I think it's a fabric hungry pattern. And then I'd write on a small piece of paper how much I purchased the fabric for and the yardage. So I already have more fabric than I need. I don't have the right fabric, and I want to sort that out. And by right fabric, it's, do I have the right amount for these set projects they'll want to do. And I don't know. It's going to take digging through and organizing. And I don't think that's a good way going forward for me. So I've been hearing a lot about the app Stash Hub that Yvette from Blossom Sandwich and her husband, who is an app computer programmer, have developed, and I thought, well, I will give this a try. So I downloaded the app, and I must say, it is very user-friendly. I feel like it has all of the information I would want and not too much. I think it's met that perfect balance, and I think it's going to really work for me. Some of the features are you can store the fabric you have, you can put, and you can sort it different ways by type, you can sort it by color, you can sort it by yardage, and I think this is really going to help me with planning my garments. You can enter in your patterns, and you can put in the fabric requirements for those patterns. I'm a bit of a pattern repeater. If I like a pattern, I will make it several times. And this way I can know exactly how much fabric I need for that pattern and only purchase that much, or even better, I can go into my stash and use what I already have for that pattern. Most of what I have, I love. So it's not a case of missing out or making do. I have some fabulous fabric in my stash that I need to sew up. The other thing that you can add in there is measurements for the people that you sew for. I sew for myself, I sew for my husband, I sew for my grandchildren, and occasionally for my children. Another feature that I like in the app is a shopping list. I have found from time to time that there are certain notions that I can run out of pretty quickly, like elastic in different widths. So I like the idea of having a shopping list so that as I'm getting low on a certain item, I can add it to the list. And the next time I'm shopping, I can check my list and I can add the things I need. And then I'm not arbitrarily adding, because just in case, let me throw some more elastic on there. And the next thing you know, I have enough elastic to dress the entire second grade. So with all good intentions, I went up to my sewing room to start inventorying my fabric and my patterns. And then I got a little video text from my daughter-in-law, who's so good about sending us videos and pictures of our granddaughter. We get several every day. And that's when I started down the rabbit hole. I started looking at the photos, and I was very pleased to see that in every single photo, the baby was wearing something I made for her recently. Now, they came and visited us at Thanksgiving and at Christmas, and on both of the visits, I did a quick little run up to the sewing room and made her one or two little things, mainly leggings, and I think I made her a sweatshirt, and I was really pleased to see her wearing these in photos. But I also noticed something. She was not matching at all. And that's fine. She's 20 months old and she does not need to match, and I'm not passing any judgment, but I'm the grandmother who sews. I can do something about this. So that's the rabbit hole I started going down. I thought, this baby could use some matching clothes, and let me just start making her some things. So I started pulling out some fabrics. I made a few things, and I'll show you them on Friday, but I do have one that's work in progress, so I'll show you that. I made myself a Jackson pullover in this French terry from Minerva. Then I had some biggish scraps that I used to make a pair of Hudson pants that right now they're hanging in the store where I work. I work in a sewing center. I'll insert a photo somewhere of those Hudson pants. And I noticed I had some more scraps. And let me show you my scrap bin. So when I'm sewing a project and I have these large, I wouldn't call them large, but I have scraps that I just can't throw away, that I think maybe I could get something for one of my littles out of this scrap if I'm careful. So let me show you an example. These are leftover scraps from a Billy dress. Obviously, this will make nothing for me. There's nothing I could make other than a pocket bag for myself out of this scrap, but I thought, I think I could get something for the baby out of it, so I will throw it into my knit scrap bin, and then at a later point I'll come back to it and I will see if I can make some matches and sew some things up. So I've done a little bit of that this week. This maple cardigan is perfect for scraps. You can't tell because this is 4-way stretch, but I cut this front piece on the cross grain because that was the only way I could get enough fabric in order to make this. I did not have enough fabric to get my neckband or the hemband out of this French terry without piecing it. And I have this navy bamboo French terry. So I thought, right, let me just cut the neckband and the hemband out of this. And all I have left to do is to put on the snaps. So really cute, and I feel so good about myself that I'm taking these scraps and I'm turning nothing into something, which is one of the things I love about sewing. So that's my work in progress sewing, but my real work this week is in organization. I mentioned going down rabbit holes. So in addition to going down the rabbit hole of sewing something for my granddaughter when I was supposed to be upstairs entering in my inventory into my stash hub, I started planning for Sew Frugal 23. I'm going to be focusing on free children's patterns because the baby needs some clothes, and I think there are plenty of sewing vloggers who will be showing women's patterns, and I thought I'd do something a little bit different and focus on children's patterns. So I was going through my stash, pulling out some fabrics that I thought would work well with what I've already made for my granddaughter and what potentially will work well going forward. So I've started a little bit of a pile. I'll give you a little sneak peek of some fabrics I'm considering on using for Sew Frugal 23, and I'll insert it up here. That was a little bit of a diversion, but I do need to start planning for that. So I don't know that it qualifies for a rabbit hole. What do you think? I'd love to know if you're planning on participating in Sew Frugal 23. That's a challenge you'll hear more about in the coming month on sewing a free pattern for a garment using fabric from your stash. It's a good way of sewing your stash without laying out a lot of cash. So I need to head back up to the sewing room. I really do think Stash Hub's going to help me to manage my fabric buying more wisely and help me to draw down my stash, match things up, and I think be a little more efficient in my sewing. It's also going to help me with those bonus projects. I feel so self-satisfied with those bonus projects. I don't want to be wasteful, and I think Stash Hub's going to help me. I'm going to head up to the sewing room. I'm going to start working on my Stash Hub inventory. I will see you on Friday for Friday Sews, where I'm going to show you some garments that I've sewn, and here's what YouTube thinks you might want to watch next. Until next time, I hope you have a joyful week and that you find the good in all things, especially sewing. Bye.